ambush your enemies from new stealth zones, and make clutch rotations through portals connecting outer lanes. Battle against the Fire Giant, fully equipped with new abilities and new tactical approaches, like the back door you can open to sneak in for a steal. Earn game-changing buffs as you defeat the Gold Fury, culminating in the Ancient Fury, a new game-ending objective. Gain every advantage through mastering new lane and jungle mechanics. New minion formations and siege minions will make
Now,
lane.
what finished item you'll need in 5 minutes? Don't worry, just build a bow, and every single item with attack speed can be built out of that bow. And you'll have more creative builds than ever before. Gods are no longer just magical or physical. Each god will now have 2 different sources of power, strength and intelligence. Different abilities within each god's kit will scale differently, and all gods will be able to build all items. Face Punch Ymir with crit is back. Hunters that used to do it all like Kurnanos now will need to build int in order to increase damage on certain abilities, like his polymorph. And new hybrid utility options let Chalk...
Weapon movements leave trails, making attacks more visible. Upper and lower body animations are more in sync, positioning your character within the action. Specific animations and effects have been retuned to add more impact than before. CC status and immunity are now clearly communicated on nameplates, so it's easier to read the flow of combat. And work has been done on the UI and user experience to make sure you truly feel when you're hitting your enemies, and depth of strategy and tactics that you can only find in a 3-lane MOBA. Competition is core to our DNA, and rest assured that Smite 2 is a competitive game that rewards your time and your skill. But unlike those other MOBAs, Smite 2 has amazing third-person combat. Whether you're coming from MOBAs, shooters, action...
Smite 2 is the next generation of cross-platform third-person MOBA. This is a true sequel to Smite, fully modernized and rebuilt from the ground up in Unreal Engine 5. That's a 2-generation leap over Smite's Unreal 3, which first
released... Andrea Chang, and I'm the audio director here at Hi-Res Studios working on Smite 2. I helped build the audio team up from the ground up. When we started, we were actually very small of a team, and so it felt very prototypey, almost game jam-like. Basically, you would just bounce ideas off of each other very quickly. So it was very organic and grassroots-like. So one of the first things that I would say is a huge improvement on our end is using Meta Sounds, which is our new audio system, which is a huge improvement over UE3's sound cues. We have increased voice count in Smite 2. So in Smite 1, the voice cap limit was 32 voices. If you're basically just walking down lane solo, that's already 24 voices. And if you add like fighting minions on top of that, then you're pretty much at your voice count cap. In Smite 2, we didn't want voices to just randomly cut out and miss out on important gameplay information, and so we raised the voice count limit to 128. That way people can hear things that they need to hear, and also the fidelity of the audio is just increased tremendously because you're able to hear so many more things and have such a more immersive experience. In Smite 2, we really wanted to make sure that we gave the players really good spatial information for the audio. And one of the things that we improved in Smite 2 was the attenuations. So attenuation basically is if you have an object and it emits a sound, the radius that you hear that sound from is the attenuation of that sound. So if you look at the picture, the red circle is Smite 1's attenuation, and it's pretty large. Smite 2 has a lot smaller of an attenuation, it's the blue circle, and because it's smaller, you get more accurate information of where the actual sound is spawning from. So continuing on that thread, occlusion is another way to give players better spatial information. So for example, if you have a Bellona behind a wall hacking away at the jungle, you don't want the Bellona to feel like they're right next to you. You want to feel like they're occluded or coming from behind the wall. We developed an occlusion system that occludes the sound if it's blocked by something or if it's obstructed by something. And so the sound will be decreased in volume, and also low-pass filters will be applied to it if the sound is occluded. So one of the things I wanted to do with Smite 2's sound design was take a very intentional approach, and part of that is making things feel a lot more responsive. So for example, in Ymir's AO1 ability, right when you press that button, you get that sound of him digging into the ground and ice crumbling. And I think that tactile feel really helps to make you feel like you're Ymir and super powerful Norse giant. The second thing that I wanted to focus on for the sound design was having high quality informative sounds. For example, in Ymir's AO2 ability, he spawns these spikes. In Smite 1, you hear these kind of high-pitched, fragile sounds. And in Smite 2, I really wanted the player to feel like these are actual spikes that could hurt you and damage you. And so the sounds are a lot more visceral in Smite 2. And the third point is, keep what's good from Smite 1. If it's not broken, then don't fix it, right? And so Ymir's AO3 is a great example of that. How, that's a very iconic sound, and players recognize it right when they hear it. They're like, oh, that's the frost breath. And so that sound does everything we want it to do. So basically we didn't have to change it, and we basically kept the core of the sound and just beefed it up slightly. We're a small team of 3 for audio, but I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished in such a short time. And I'm so excited for the fans to experience everything that we've worked so hard on.
To fight over the Warhorn, which strengthens your minions, or to pick up a buff. That's right, there are no more accidental buff pickups in Smite 2.
As we've said before, Smite 2 is a true sequel to Smite, and a new standalone game. So let's address the question on everyone's mind. Existing content from Smite 1 will not directly transfer to Smite 2. But don't worry, just because your content doesn't directly transfer doesn't mean we're not rewarding our loyal players in Smite 2 for their time, money, and accomplishments.
First, let's talk about why we are not directly transferring content. Smite 2 is a multi-generational leap from Smite 1, moving from Unreal 3 to Unreal 5. That means we have to completely rework or recreate every piece of content for it to function in Smite 2.
Currently, because we want to make sure all the content that goes into Smite 2 is strictly better, it takes about 2 months of work to get one skin from Smite to Smite 2. And that's if we just port it with effects, without making other meaningful improvements.
As of today, there are about 1,600 skins in Smite, excluding Mastery skins. To just port every skin to Smite 2, it would take about 246 person years of work. And we couldn't do that and make Smite 2 as amazing as we knew it could be if we started fresh.
When we started this project, we made this hard call. We believed that our players wanted a better version of Smite more than anything else.
So what will you get in Smite 2? Introducing Legacy Gems and Divine Legacy, 2 systems designed to make sure you get rewarded for your time, money, and achievements.
Whether you grinded out daily logins or went hard on your gem sales, your Legacy Gems will be waiting for you in Smite 2. You'll receive Legacy Gems in Smite 2 equal to every single gem you've ever spent in Smite 1, free or purchased. Your Legacy Gems can be used to pay for 50% of most in-game purchases in Smite 2. So things like events, skins, battle passes, and Smite 2 will all be half off until you spend all of your Legacy Gems. And if you purchase any Smite 2 Founders Packs, we'll give you double your Legacy Gems, giving you the equivalent purchasing power to the gems you already spent in Smite 1. Stay tuned for more info on Smite 2's Founders Packs as we get closer to release.
And Year 11 of Smite 1 comes with an all-new feature, Divine Legacy, going live in the first update of Year 11. Through the Divine Legacy, you'll be rewarded for your progress for each year of Smite's history. We've tracked the gods you've mastered, the rank matches you've lost, the skins you've unlocked, and the match hours you've played. You earn points for your progress in each year, and your points are tallied together to give you rewards. You'll get a number of Smite 2 badges to show off some of your amazing Smite 1 achievements, your rare skins.